Hello everyone, and welcome to this Henry Schein Tech Central webinar sponsored by HP. Thank you for joining us, and a special thanks to all of you who are Henry Schein customers. We appreciate your business. I'm Thomas Grover, and I'm the Marketing Manager for Henry Schein Tech Central. I'm joined today by Brian Calverley from Tech Central, and I'll introduce him a little bit later, but we'd like to thank him for joining us. Tech Central leads the dental industry in providing superior office technology solutions. Tech Central provides what other IT providers often cannot, which is office technology that is optimized for dental practices large or small. Our single-source team of experts designs, delivers, and supports office technology products and services, including computers, networks, phone systems, security solutions that protect practice and its data, such as network security, server encryption, and HIPAA-mandated security risk assessments, and support via phone or on-site services. We partner with best-of-breed companies such as HP to provide integrated office technology solutions that are reliable, affordable, and help you provide innovative patient treatment and improve practice management. During the next hour, we'll provide valuable information about the risks of maintaining an old or outdated server and server operating system in your practice. During the presentation, we encourage you to interact with us. There are a handful of widgets at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to submit questions during the presentations using the Q&A widget, or use the Facebook and Twitter widgets at the bottom of your screen to share some of the content you are learning. Also, we'll have a few poll questions during the presentation, and you'll be able to answer those questions right in your slides. So to get started, let's ask one of these poll questions so we can have a better understanding of your server needs. So which operating system is currently running on the server in your practice? So there's a few different options there. If you want to select the option that best represents what's running on the server in your practice, and if you don't know, that's fine. Just check the don't know option. Once you've selected an option, you can click on the submit button. So we'll give you just a second to do that. All right, let's see the results. Great, so a number of you are running Windows Server 2003, which is probably why you're on the call today. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that means for your practice. Even for those of you who are running Windows Server 2008, we'll have some very valuable information for you. So thanks again for answering that question. So I'd like to introduce Brian Calverley. Brian is the National Sales Manager for Henry Schein Tech Central. He has more than 15 years of experience working within the dental industry as a digital technology integrator. He thoroughly understands how technology should be implemented within a dental practice, and in his current role as the National Sales Manager for Tech Central, he's responsible for the division's sales and revenue growth. Brian, it's good to have you with us. I'll turn the time over to you.
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate the great introduction there, and I'm glad we had such a great turnout. People that want to learn more about the operating system securities in the practices. I think we'll start off with a little bit of a remember when and a little bit about some of our partners that we have out there. Henry Schein works very closely with Microsoft and HP to make sure that we're providing the right solutions. In particular, working with HP has been very good for our customers. They have 30 years in this market, and they're a very comprehensive solution provider. They commit to us, and we meet with them on a regular basis to forecast what our customers are going to need. And that means that we look at what models are out there, any changes to the marketplace, and what trends are going to affect the businesses of our dental customers. It's very important that you work with a vendor that has these type of relationships so that they can anticipate your needs and make sure that you're preparing correctly as you move forward in the space. Just kind of taking a little look back down memory lane, if you understand operating system technologies and where they've been, 2003 servers has been around quite a while. We back in 2003, that was back when the Sopranos were really launching down there. The armed forces were taking their trip to the desert, so to speak. and that Mozilla was launched. So a lot has changed since then. Also, Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, and the Raiders were in there as well. So it's been a long time since either of those teams have been that far along in the system. We also had the governor, Schwarzenegger, was the governor of California. So it's been a long haul and a long great run with that operating system. But like all good things, they come to an end sometimes. The situation is that Microsoft has ended support for Server 2003 effective on July 14th. What that means to the end users that are out there is that Microsoft will no longer provide any security updates, patches, or fix any vulnerabilities in that software. So any companies or businesses that are using this operating system are going to be left without the ability from Microsoft to patch and maintain those systems. This means that increased cost to migrate and basically a forced migration for any offices that are concerned about security and regulations that affect those things. This can be a tough situation for lots of different businesses of all sizes. 2003 Server has been migrated across and adopted by a wide platform and variety of organizations that are out there. And it's not just as simple as some offices might consider when it comes to how do we actually do the migration and how do we plan out what's going to be an effective way to breach our security concerns. It's not just about loading software. It does mean that you have to consider the entire environment. And a lot of times organizations tend to just try to patch the hole in the boat without actually fixing the entire leak, and that just leads to the whole ship sinking. So we need to make sure that we're doing this correctly, that we have the right hardware in place, and that we consider the entire solution, and that we are choosing the right partner to work with to effectively migrate the system over. Yes, this technology was good. 2003 Server was designed for the business challenges that were available at that time, but it was also, the late 90s when that first came out. There were devices that were hot back then, were the flip phones of the 90s, the technology practices that were there. This change to 2012 Server is really the standard now. This allows businesses to start with a very stable platform and take advantage of a lot of increased security and performance enhancements that weren't available in the past. Some of the to-dos and considering this migration, the first thing that we recommend is that you do work with a strategic partner that can understand your long-term vision for your technology. So they can help you formulate a plan for migration, define the goals that are needed to take you there, and then give you a to-do list and hold your hand throughout the process. So we are going to try to align our initiatives with yours so that the project can be effectively transitioned over and that the end user experience and downtime is minimal. My screen's going a little slow here. There it goes. Generally speaking, when we look at the evaluation that needs to be done, there is a blueprint in place that has to be done. You do need to define the process and stress that the resources and provided are effective, that we consider the hardware that's needed to run the newer operating systems and what's required of those in order to effectively migrate, and then plan out the actual implementation so that the facilities are available and the staff that you have designated to the end users are available as well. And it can be a real challenge there. Move through some of these. choosing the right hardware, if we need to make a hardware change, can be an important consideration. When you look at HP's overall server lineup, you'll notice that there's price points that hit as low as $1,500, and you can spend as much as $15,000 or $20,000, depending on what you spec out in HP. The important thing is to spec out the right equipment. We work very closely with HP to develop our solutions that fit the needs of our dental customers. For example, we work within their G series of servers, and that allows us to put the right level of performance in place along with the growth needs and capacity for the next 3 to 5 years for a practice. So when we sit down to plan out a server migration like this, we would talk to the office about what is your current data needs and what is your current data sizes. Are there any integrated technologies you're going to be adding in the future? And how is that going to affect the lifespan of that server so that we plan out for growth and we evaluate that on a regular basis? There's agents in place that can be installed on the servers that can notify offices on a regular basis, for example, weekly, that show you how much capacity you're using. So you can watch and see what your growth is on a regular basis and be able to migrate through and plan out your next round of upgrades effectively. Why work with Tech Central? Well, we are the experts in the dental field. No one has deployed more dental offices with IT technology than Henry Schein through Tech Central. We understand the service needed to support these migrations, and we help our customers choose the right systems to move forward. At HP, they develop platforms to support technology on an ongoing basis, and they continually improve their offerings. Their expertise is, at the hardware level, helping us adopt our solutions to our customers' needs and making sure that those are effectively met. Get a lot of questions. Getting a little bit of background noise. We get a lot of questions about what's required from a security level with HIPAA and PCI compliance. There was a mandate handed down by the Department of Homeland Security, basically warning offices that keeping Windows Server 2003 in your office was putting your data and your practice at great risk, as they put it, for malicious attacks and possible data loss. The government cert there is in the link on the bottom, and you can have access to that. But this is kind of putting offices on notice that they need to make sure that they make a change and that they plan out their changes effectively prior to the July end of life that they put in place by Microsoft. So how do you actually get this done? What are your steps to plan out a successful migration? Well, I think the first step you've taken by joining the webinar today is a good one, where you learn more information and make sure that we're effectively planning it out. We work closely with clients to do hardware assessments and to plan these out. Just so you know, the new version of Microsoft Server's operating system is their 2012 edition, and it does typically require a higher level of hardware needs than the old operating system did in the past. So the hardware requirements are newer. A lot of offices are going to be forced to actually replace their hardware along with the operating system that they have there. The solutions that we've worked with HP allow us to determine with the clients what hardware is going to best fit your needs for the next 3 to 5 years, and then make those transition changes effectively. I know there's a lot of partners out there that offices turn to when they work with planning out the technology and planning out the IT solutions for their practice. We see a lot of offices that work with local IT providers, possibly even very small providers. So I'd like to take this opportunity to kind of lighten things up a little bit and show you some of the experiences that we've seen along with with some of the different IT providers that are out there.
And then 3 babies come out. 3! I thought it was never going to stop. It was like a conveyor belt. But that's enough of that. Marty, how are things going with you in your dental office?
You know, things are good. The business is expanding, a steady flow of new patients. In fact, right now, I'm in the process of upgrading all of my office technology.
Looks like you guys started the party without me.
Brian, when did you get here? Go grab some food.
Oh, thanks, Uncle Marty. I just ate. They had a big spread for us over at the orientation for my new job.
Oh, wait a minute. Where are you working?
Super special. Just the biggest IT company in the area.
My Brian's a computer genius.
Guilty.
That is fantastic. You know, I could use some networking and computers installed in my office. You should come set me up.
Yeah, I could do that. In my sleep.
So, this is my nephew, Brian. He's going to be setting up the network and handling all the computer stuff. Now, he is what you call a computer whiz.
Guilty.
But if he needs any help, just lend him a hand, okay?
You won't even notice I'm here. I am as smooth as a cat.
Okay, let's start in here, Brian.
Sam, I need your help.
Hey, you like my tool belt?
Speaking of tools.
Brian!
I know. I will catch you later.
Well, there's a server closet.
I eat these things for breakfast.
Thanks again for doing this.
I own you.
Thank you for calling Dr. Hale's up. Hello? Hey, Brian, the phones are ringing, but I'm not getting anything when I pick it up.
Have you tried this phone back here? Hello?
Hello? Is this Dr. Hale's office?
Yeah, this one seems to be working just fine.
Can you just get these phones working? I can't go back and forth.
I know. Relax. Bye.
Everything seems to be running slower.
Mine's not letting me log in.
Mine won't even turn on.
Brian, hey, Brian.
I'm in the middle of something super important right now, but I'll be right back to fix this.
Are you kidding me?
And if blue really brings out your eyes.
So none of my files are accessible on the new machine. I can't process payment.
Yeah, I know. I'm working on it. Those your kids?
Yes.
I totally love kids.
And that's my husband. I need to go back online now.
Yeah, let's go.
On Thursday next week. Oh, okay.
More important work coming through.
Seriously?
2 roads diverged in a lot of chords. A work in progress. That should do it. Oh. Whoa. Hey, Uncle Marty, don't mind me. Ugh. Oh, I hate that sound.
Out! Now!
Don't you have better things to do?
It's getting done. I'm multitasking.
The night is darkest before the dawn.
Boom, that's you. I'm Cupid. This is our reality. Get over themselves!
Where is it?
Hello, Henry Schein. We need Tech Central's help now.
What seems to be the problem?
That was fast.
I know.
Oh, nephew problems. I'll take care of this.
Don't trust your office technology to just anyone. Henry Schein Tech Central. Real experts who've been installing reliable and affordable dental systems since before your nephew was born.
This is not over. I can still do it. Please call me when the phone works. Ow!
So I hope you enjoyed the video, and obviously a little levity there. Our marketing team does a great job when it comes to putting together those things. But seriously, we do see a lot of different skill sets of IT providers in the field there. So I'd like to ask another poll question here, and that question is, who's responsible for implementing or maintaining the technology in your practice? And we'll give you a few seconds to run through some of those. No one chose the My Nephew option. So I do see a lot of where the dentist or office manager is responsible for the IT as well. And about a third of you out there in that situation, along with another third that do work with an IT company that specializes in dental practice. And a few of our customers out there as well. That's great. I do think that it's very important to choose the right partner and choose someone who understands the technology in your office, because there are so many different options out there, and there's a lot of things that you have to consider when you look at these transitions. There's two big components of any dental office's IT solution needs. The first one is their practice management software, and you need to confirm that the version of the practice management software that you're using is compatible with the new operating system that we're going to be deploying, in this case, Server 2012. All of the Henry Schein Practice Solution softwares that are out there are compliant if you're on the latest version. So if you're on a Dentrix or you're on an Easy Dental solution or an OMS Vision, those are all compatible as long as you're up to speed. One key piece that a lot of people miss when they do these checks and migrations are the other integrated softwares that plug into your practice management software as well. You also need to look at any appointment confirmation software you might be using from DemandForce or Henry Schein e-Services solution, or any other add-on solutions that communicate with that practice management software and confirm their compatibility with the new server operating system, because they will need to be installed and set up on that new server. Another big place that offices can have problems is when you look at how your digital images are stored. Again, if you're using the latest version of Dexis or Visix or any of those softwares, typically they are compatible with the Server 2012, but it is something that needs to be examined, along with the current size of your imaging database. This is where a lot of offices run into headaches or problems, is that they don't plan for their growth effectively. If you're going with extraoral imaging with a digital pan or a 3D machine, those images tend to be pretty large, and if you have patients coming in on an annual basis, or all your new patients are getting those images taken, you have to plan out your growth effectively so that the server we put in place now doesn't need to be upgraded next year. Hopefully we're planning out a 3 to 5 year plan for that. What else do you need to consider? Well, the actual server migration is going to require a transfer of data. It's going to require the downtime involved to move that data over, set things up on the new server, and then reconfigure your workstations or install new ones that can be set up to work with that new database. Depending on the existing data sizes, that could be a considerable amount of time. If you're an office that's been digital for several years, you may have a terabyte or more of images. And you need to understand that taking that data from one machine to another could be several hours up to a day or two to even transfer the data over effectively. Also, as we look at this new plethora of data that's out there, we have to consider how it's going to be backed up. There's a lot of different ideas around backups out there. We typically look at a two-pronged approach. I always like offices to have something physical that they can put their hands on and securely back their data up to. We typically work with encrypted hard drives and a software solution that allows you to make a true copy of your server's data onto each backup drive. That allows you to have a complete backup in your hands in the event that your server is down. They can reconfigure one of your workstations to at least be a temporary server and allow a number of machines to get up and running on that temporary workstation server right away. It also allows you to take your data off-site or migrate that data elsewhere so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket in the event of a catastrophe or even a theft of a server or system there. The second option we always recommend is an online backup as well. Typically, we don't rely on the online backup as our primary or only source of backup, but it's a great secondary source. And typically with online backup, you get a lot more restore points. So if you do have data corruption or virus activity, the online backups allow you to go back in time much further. Typically, they're storing multiple revisions of your data online, so that you get a lot of restore point options there and a lot more safety of your data. Some other things that you have to look at when you go to the new operating system. If you have any remote users that connect into your practice, we always have to make sure that that's done securely and effectively so that anyone that's outside your practice that's accessing patient health information is doing that in a secure environment. Also, with the new server, typically you're going to make sure we have the right protection for the server in the form of antivirus to protect from malicious software that's out there. And then how are future updates and maintenance going to be done as well? There's a lot of services out there that are available where on a regular basis you can have a skilled technician actually do maintenance, updates, and what we call server optimization on a regular basis. That really can put your mind at ease, and it can also make sure that things run effectively and reduce your potential for downtime. When we look at an office that's doing a server migration or an upgrade, we also like to talk about life cycle planning. How long is this piece of equipment we're putting in place going to be in use and effective for your office? So we have tools we look at that are based off the number of providers in the office and what technologies you're using. For example, if you're using digital x-ray, we know that each provider in the practice can generate up to 20 gigs a year just in digital x-rays. So if you have a doctor and 2 hygienists, you can easily generate 60 gig a year just in digital images there. So we have to plan out the expansion and growth for your practice around those technologies you have in place, along with anything new you're going to add on as you move forward. If the practice is going paperless, for example, we're going to make sure the scanning solutions they have in place are done correctly and at the right resolutions so we don't fill up the server with these high resolution scans of EOB type work. And then who's your support going to be done with on an ongoing basis? When you have problems, you have a partner you can call. They can help you resolve issues quickly and can help you resolve them remotely and on-site if needed. That's where our team really shines and excels. Thomas, do you want to go through the offer that we have for today?
Yes, thank you, Brian. Great stuff that you provided with us. So one of the things that we wanted to offer to you today, now that we've given you some really valuable information about upgrading and migrating from Windows Server 2003 to a newer operating system, some newer hardware that meets your demands for your dental practice today, is we want to offer each of you a free network assessment. So what this would entail is having a Henry Schein representative come to your office and talk to you about what your needs are and what your vision is for your office technology. This is an assessment that's no cost to you, but would bring to you an expert that could help you see what your options are as far as upgrading your practice. And again, helping you meet the needs of what you'd like your practice to be. So that's an offer that's available to each of you. So based on the information that you've received today, we'd like you to answer another poll question for us. So would you like to, if you'd like to schedule a server upgrade, you like what you've heard from us today and you'd like to go ahead and schedule that, then you can check that box. If you'd like to take advantage of a free network assessment and have a tech expert come and talk to you about your network needs, then go ahead and check that. If you'd like some more information about what your upgrade options are or the benefits of moving away from Windows Server 2003 or from another older operating system, then you can check that box as well. So go ahead and take a minute and check the option that works best for you. Brian, it looks like we've had a couple of questions come in. One of them that I thought might be beneficial for everyone to hear is, what are the hardware requirements for Windows 2012 R2?
Yeah, no problem. The hardware requirements are based around server-style chipsets, so it's a little bit confusing for the end user when we talk about the Xeon processors that are out there. Typically, we're talking about a Xeon processor with a 2 gigahertz machine. So the very bare minimums that are within that operating system are somewhere along those Xeon processor 2 gig. But you also need to realize that it's very much dependent on the number of cores and the type of processor that's in that server. So typically we're going to look at what are the specs of this machine. Can it be updated with the new operating system, or do we need to replace that unit?
Great, and that's where an assessment would come in, right, Brian, so that we could help guide the practice through what the different options are and what would really work for what their current configuration is, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then realize a lot of practices, if you're investing in new technology, you're going to be purchasing the operating system. You get a great price on the operating system when you buy it along with new hardware. So Microsoft and HP subsidize that operating system investment when you also purchase hardware as well.
Great, thank you. Another question that came in, Brian, and please feel free, if any of you have any other questions that you want answered, now is a great time to ask them. We have some time to answer some questions for you. But Brian, one of the questions, and I think it runs complementary to our discussion about a server and a network in the dental practice, is what operating system should workstations run?
For the most part, most practices out there are using Windows 7 Professional. It tends to be the highest compatibility that's out there. A lot of businesses have chosen to hold back or not go to Windows 8 because it's been a bit of a end user experience hasn't been as good as it could be, is how I would say it. So we see a lot of businesses that are looking to potentially leapfrog Windows 8 and go directly to the Windows 10 platform, which is supposed to be out later this year.
Great, thank you. Let's see the results from our poll. So it looks like a lot of you have requested a network assessment. Fantastic. So we have your contact information, and we'll be in touch with you to get that scheduled. Those of you who have asked for more information, we'll be in touch with you as well to provide you with some additional information. So thank you for those results. Any last-minute questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Just got a good question that came across asking about what is the life cycle for Windows 7. And that's a great question. Microsoft's end of life for Windows 7 is 2020. So most offices, if you're needing to purchase new workstations today, we're still looking at Windows 7 as being the most compatible, viable option, and it should be and remain so for the life cycle of that equipment. So with 2020 being the sunset for Windows 7, we're still within that 3 to 5 year lifespan for hardware. And if things change with Windows 10 next year, obviously we would adopt that. But at this time, there's not widespread support for Windows 8.
Great, thank you. All right, we have time for a couple of... Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no problem. I'm getting a lot of questions about that we referred in this webinar to HP quite exclusively. HP is sponsoring this webinar. There's lots of great hardware options out there with other vendors as well. We found HP to be a great partner, and they are sponsoring this event today.
Thank you. So I think we have time for maybe one more question. I think we've answered everything that's come in so far. So if anyone has any last-minute questions, then feel free to ask them now. We'll put the last poll question up. If you didn't get a chance to let us know that you'd like a free network assessment or that you'd like more information, then you can go ahead and do that right now. Looks like one more question about Windows 7 just came in, Brian.
Let's see. What version of Windows? There's a lot of versions of Windows 7 that are out there. Typically, when you're buying new equipment, it's going to come, especially if it's business grade, it'll come with Windows 7 Professional. I get a lot of questions about, does Windows 7 Ultimate work, or do Essentials type programs work? Those are typical consumer-based equipment. So if you're looking at that type of equipment and it says Windows 7 Ultimate on it, just ask the question, is this business grade or is it consumer grade? Because typically the business grade equipment is designed to last longer and it has longer life cycles. That means if we decide to buy a computer this year for the front desk, if we decide to purchase equipment next year for the consult room, we get a longer lifespan and we'll have very similar architecture there.
Great, thank you. Brian, someone asked about financing. So if they're looking at upgrading their server or their network, are there options available to them for financing that?
Yeah, definitely. There's typically 36 or 48 month financing available. You can also get that in a purchase agreement, or you can get it into a lease agreement. Typically, the lease options has a fair market value buyout at the end. So offices that know that they're going to be continually investing in upgrading equipment can look at those things and not have to pay for the entire amount of the equipment. They can get a lease agreement and turn that machine over at the end of its life cycle.
Great, thank you. Any of the other questions that you want to answer before we end our webinar today?
No, I think it's a lot of great information. Obviously, our contact information will be available at the end of the webinar, and our teams would love to assist you with planning out these migrations and assisting you with your life cycle planning as you move forward.
Great. Thank you very much, Brian. We appreciate all the great information you've shared. If you have attended today's webinar, then we'll be sending out the slides with a follow-up email, just thanking you for attending so that you can have this information. Again, if you need to contact Tech Central about any of your needs, you're welcome to contact Brian Calverley right there, or you can call the Henry Schein Tech Central number, which is 877-483-0382. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll be following up with you if you've requested a network assessment or more information from us. We hope that you have a great day.